Hello. In this video, I'm going to be talking about workflow in Gemini. And what I've done is I've navigated to the Agile Software Development Project, and I'm looking here at the status field. So workflow being the simple process of moving from one status to another. For example, I can go from being tested to being closed, because that's the next thing in the status transition. So let's take a look at how we set up our status transitions. And to do so, you need to be a Gemini administrator, and if so, you can click on this customize link and go to the templates. Now, workflow is associated with the template, so you can have different workflow for each of the different types of things that a template will capture. Let's look at the workflow that's associated with a task. Now, we said that workflow was the movement from one status to another, so of course, the first thing that we would need to define for our workflow is what are all the statuses that we can go through. Once we have done that, against each individual process, we simply click on the workflow link, and Gemini shows us in this drawing area one of these cards for each of the different statuses. Really, really simple. You can drag, drop, move them around. Now we start from being in a backlog, okay, in this example. I just hover over the colored box, click, and I draw an arrow to the status that I can go to from there. So I can go from being in backlog to being in a sprint, from in a sprint to being in progress, from in progress to being tested, and from tested to being closed. And this is a very, very simple, straightforward status transition. Of course, it's a little bit too simplistic because someone's bound to put something into the sprint that actually should go back into the backlog, because we're not going to do it now. And someone's bound to want something to go straight from the backlog to being in progress. And somebody is going to say, you know what, that thing in the backlog, we're not going to do that at all. I just want to be able to close it. You can see how simple it is to create the status transitions and the rules around them. And that's all you have to do to create status workflow in Gemini. It's as simple as that. There is, however, one last piece of sophistication that I want to touch upon, which is that it could be that not everyone is allowed to make a particular status transition. So, for example, who is allowed to say that something's been tested and now it can be closed? Well, just as with fields on a screen, where if you click on a person icon or you click on the little drop down arrow next to the field, you can go and define the groups allowed to access the field. So you can define the groups allowed to make particular status transitions. And here I can say that actually only members of the support team or Gemini administrators are actually allowed to close an item from being tested. Apply, save, status, done. Now there is one last little thing about statuses, and that is not necessarily to do with status transitions. It is to do with the rule that Gemini will impose. To see that, let's go back to my Agile Software Development project and take a look at a story. So in a story, I can go from being tested to being closed. That's just the status transition, and that's fine. Yet, pardon me, I didn't mean to click there. When I look at another story, if I click on this, you can see that the closed is being grayed out, and I can't close this. This is because once you have defined status transitions, Gemini is fine and will let you move to those statuses, except if you define items as having dependencies and that item has got dependencies, then Gemini will not let you close the top level parent item unless all of its children have been closed. And that is statuses in Gemini. Simple. Thank you.